There is no set definition of a green space, but for this podcast, such spaces may include places with natural settings, natural surfaces, water elements like ponds, or abundant greenery. Green space comes in many shapes and sizes. They are not confined to planned areas like an arboretum or national park. A green space can be as simple as a willow tree covering a grassy area with Adirondack chairs surrounding it. Listen as I investigate green space on university campuses all around the United States. There are 76 land-grant institutions in the United States, with UK being one of them. Yet, not all of these institutions have the same characteristics. They attract different types of students for many different reasons. The University of California, Berkeley is an example of a land-grant institution located in an urban area. But most land-grant institutions, like Auburn, Kentucky, and Wisconsin, are located to the east of the Rocky Mountains in rural to semi-rural locations. A land-grant institution is one that has been designated by the state legislature to garner the benefits of the Morrill Acts. The original objective of these institutions was to teach agricultural, mechanical arts, and military tactics so that students could obtain a practical education. Land-grant schools have been granted a large sum of land as well as funding to create spaces that aid with agricultural research. But does being a land-grant university have anything to do with the availability of green space and how students are affected by them? Without knowing exactly what land-grant means, one could assume that such universities have more available open space. It is possible that students, faculty, and the general public could be affected by this label, and the way that they think about green spaces and their effects could be changed. Universities throughout the United States each give priority to different things as they develop their campuses. University campuses are always changing, but some keep one thing constant: green space for students to relax and unwind after, before, or between class. Many schools also promote outdoor recreational activities as things for students to do on the weekends. But are the schools that promote outdoor activities and green space use all land grants? Or is the location of the school, gender, or campus population that determines the likelihood of someone to get outside as an escape? The University of Kentucky is the state's one and only land-grant institution. It is safe to say that the university is filled with open green areas where students, faculty, and Lexingtonians can gather. One space stands out to me in particular: the Arboretum. The University of Kentucky Arboretum, founded in 1991, sits on the campus's southern border. Across the street from the ever-changing athletic complex, the Arboretum is an escape from the bustling campus life and the busy Lexington streets. It sounds like this. With 100 acres of lush green space, filled with mature trees and colorful plants, the Arboretum's mission is to celebrate nature, foster community, and provide cultural opportunities for Kentuckians. Appealing to a wide variety of groups, paths run through the grass, picnic tables sit under large trees, plant species are on display, and grass serves as a dog's playground. Being that the Arboretum is such a versatile space, its influence is positive. Those who reap the benefits are the ones who make use of the space. There is little to no evidence on negative effects of green spaces. It comes down to the idea that to use them means benefit, and to not use them means no gain or loss. Hannah Silveira, an opinionated senior at the University of Kentucky studying nursing, has made use of the Arboretum since freshman year. How has UK changed over your 4 years at the school?
When I was a freshman, the complex where the Kerwin and Blanding towers are was utilized a lot by students. People would sit outside in Enos as well as on the grass and just hang out, and no one really does that anymore because no one lives over there. Also where the Lewis Honors College is, it used to be a frat lot, and there's some fraternities there. Also behind my dorm, Woodland Glen 1, all the other ones didn't exist yet. They're being built the year I lived in Woodland Glen 1. And finally, where the university flats are now, it used to be a huge grass space that people also sat on and hung out on.
And how have green spaces in particular affected you if you ever use them?
Well, besides going to a local workout studio to exercise, I'll run around campus a lot. And since freshman year, I would run from my dorm to the Arboretum and run at the Arboretum. And now I still do that, even living off campus at my house. So mostly I use the Arboretum.
Does the university promote outdoor spaces or planned activities that students can do on the weekends?
I think that at the JC there's a whiteboard by the door, but I haven't really gone to any of those.
It is interesting to learn from first-hand observations how UK has changed through her 4 years and how what was once open space is now filled with dorms and classroom buildings. And per Hannah's minimal participation in planned outdoor activities at the university, we can conclude that UK does not do the best job at publishing such opportunities to students. According to the World Health Organization, Christopher Black says, quote, "Green spaces on university campuses promote physical activity, relaxation, and general well-being," end quote. Green environments can help reduce stress, combat depression, and promote social interaction. Such spaces come in many shapes and sizes. People make use of green space for a variety of reasons. Many students hang out or exercise in green space to escape sounds like this, or this. Construction on university campuses is constant. The 7 a.m. start time and the 7 p.m. end time means 12 hours of added beeping, drilling, and engines running. Cars continually drive by dorms, and police and fire department vehicles excessively blare their sirens because people never pull over. Other students escape to green spaces to catch a break from studying. Their minds filled to the brim with terms and formulas, their body fatigued, and lost motivation. The student needs a break. Studying in the dorm looks like this. You sit at your desk for 10 minutes, staring at your computer screen, then you have the realization that you want to lay in bed. You bring your computer with you into bed, and soon find yourself watching Netflix. Jack O'Melveny, a freshman at the University of Wisconsin, a land-grant institution, never uses outdoor areas on campus. You can find him in the rec center playing pickup with his friends in his spare time. Do you feel that there's an availability of green space on your campus?
Honestly, I am not sure about that because, I haven't had the time to explore my campus as much as I'd like to. So you'll have to get back to me on that one.
What motivates you to go to green spaces? School, social, exercise, etc.?
Definitely some social aspects in there and exercise as well. Yeah.
In what green areas do you study best? Or do you not study in them at all?
I study best. Most of the time I study in the libraries.
The Arboretum is a mile away from the main campus, and without a car, it's not easily accessible to students. UW-Madison's northern border is marked by Lake Mendota, and we learned from O'Melveny how the university promotes outdoor activities and how he has observed students' use of the lake.
We have many clubs and different groups on campus that love to go, kayaking on the lake or rock climbing and, different recreational sports outside and whatnot. So, yes, I do believe so.
I then looked at Boston University, a non-land-grant school located smack dab in the center of the city. I thought that because the university borders the Charles River, it would possess qualities similar to a land-grant or other rural to semi-rural institutions. This hypothesis was incorrect. Arden Cresson, a student athlete at BU, notes that although the university does a great job at promoting outdoor activities, there's no space readily available to students on campus.
I don't feel that there's an availability of green space on my campus because it's in the middle of a city, so it's surrounded on one side by a main road. So there's a lot of concrete, and the green spaces are pretty limited. They have an outdoor club that takes people up to like New Hampshire and Vermont into different hiking places on the weekends. And also they have Fit Rec, which has lots of classes.
Croissant wishes for more green space on campus. Between her schoolwork and track practice 20 hours a week, she wants to see BU implement green spaces on campus where students can eat, hang out, or exercise.
It's much nicer. When I went and visited my friend at Yale, they have large green spaces on their quad, and lots of students are hanging out there and playing sports, which makes it feel like a greater community atmosphere.
We learn here that Croissant has made use of green space while visiting Yale's campus, so she knows the positive effects that they can create. This also adds another dimension. Yale University is not of land-grant origin, yet it has copious amounts of green space on the old campus. Many of the university's buildings are centered around their main quad. The main quad serves as a meeting place for many students before and after class. Dr. Andrew Lee says, quote, "Social spaces give people a sense of calming. They act as a meeting place and have a defined purpose, creating stability." End quote. Nature environments allow for positive distractions that block or counteract negative mental processes. The availability of green space on campuses is not the only factor that contributes to mental health effects. For green spaces on college campuses to cause an effect, they must also be of certain quality. Well-maintained spaces of bright colors and great biodiversity have shown a greater impact on students' mental health. In her article, The Power of Green Spaces, Phoebe Gavin examines the results of a 90-minute nature walk. Those who walk primarily in urban environments, like a college campus, have higher rates of mood disorders and anxiety than people in suburban or rural areas. I heard from a student who attends the University of California, Berkeley, about his perceptions of green spaces on his campus and how he has seen it produce effects on himself and other students. Casey McGonigal grew up just 15 minutes away from Cal. He frequented the campus growing up, but never saw it from a student's point of view until this year. As you learned earlier, Cal is of land-grant roots, but it differs from many universities in this category. Cal is a city within a city. It is a very urban environment, but McGonigal maintains that the university does not let this interfere with its environmental focus. He says, quote, "You can't walk around our campus without noticing a bunch of different trees and grassy areas. The university is definitely green and focused on finding environmentally friendly ways to spend time, but it's honestly not as into promoting outdoor activities as I would like," end quote. The theme seems to be that universities put time and effort into green spaces on campus, but they do not always promote activities to the student population. McGonigal has not been able to make use of outdoor areas as much as he would like, but he does have a favorite, quote, "My favorite spot on campus is hidden by the west side of Strawberry Creek. It's quiet, a little bit hidden, and nestled in amongst the redwood trees in our gurgling creek. Sadly, I don't get to visit it often because it's very far away from my dorm and my classes. Other places I like are the business school and some of the glades and grassy areas around campus," end quote. A strong student like McGonigal is attracted to places like the business school. He's a student who appreciates green space, yet is able to unwind in places like the Haas School of Business. McGonigal told me that living on such a beautiful campus makes him happy. He feels happy even while walking from class to class. He notes that it's hard to be sad when you feel lucky just because of where you are. The size of the school is a big factor relating to a student's use of green space. Green areas on large campuses may be super far away from one's classes or dorm, causing the student to rarely use them. From my investigation, I can conclude that land-grant origins do not have an effect on the availability of green space. It is the location of the university, city-side, rural, suburban, the ideals of the school, and how they perceive their student population that show differences in green space quality and availability. No matter if it's a land grant or not, when the university needs to expand, they will expand, causing open spaces to diminish. The effects of green space differ on people's attitudes towards them and their willingness to get outside. The effects also seem to differ based on gender, interests, or hobbies. Some people do not prioritize mental health, and therefore, green spaces will not be of much help to them. There is scientific research that backs the idea of improved mental well-being, yet, even with this data, not everyone is affected and seeks serenity in their own way.